Okay, let's dive into this one. Picture this scenario. Maybe it's familiar. It's 3 a.m., dead quiet,
Yep, middle of the night.
and you're wide awake because a guest, someone staying with you, went out hours ago. They're not back.
Oh, that feeling.
Yeah, and your mind just starts, right, you're checking cameras, maybe looking at your phone again and again. Nothing.
That knot in your stomach just tightens the what ifs.
Exactly. That awful feeling of helplessness when it's something totally out of your hands.
It's incredibly common, that kind of late night worry spiral.
Totally. And that specific moment, that's exactly where our source for this deep dive kicks off. It's a piece called Running with Stoicism.
Okay.
But here's the really interesting part. The author, instead of just, lying there trapped in the worry loop.
Which is what most of us would probably do.
Right. They actually get up, put on running shoes, head out the door at 3 a.m.
Wow. Okay, so the run itself becomes the focus.
Precisely. The piece frames it as a Stoic practice. Not just exercise, but actively engaging with the anxiety, using these philosophical principles.
So our mission here, then, is to look at how they used Stoicism right then in that anxious moment.
Yeah, exactly. How do they navigate it? And what are the sort of practical takeaways for us when we feel that worry creeping in?
Because it happens to everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the source describes how the physical act, the running, kind of helps create this mental separation.
Ah, okay. How so?
Well, the rhythm of it, focusing on breathing, it apparently gives you a bit of space. Space to see the fact, okay, the guest isn't back yet, separate from the scary story your mind is spinning about why.
Right. Is it separating observation from interpretation? That's very Stoic.
It really is. And they focus first on grounding themselves in what's real. The piece mentions asking, what could I actually control right now at 3 a.m.?
And the answer is usually not much externally.
Pretty much just your own actions, your thoughts, how you respond. That's it. You
Yeah.
absolutely cannot control where the guest is or when they'll be back.
And the run helps hammer that home, that distinction.
Seems like it. It grounds you in that simple but really powerful truth. The source makes this point, when we're overwhelmed, we tend to focus entirely on the external thing we can't change.
Or worse, on our catastrophic predictions about it.
Exactly. So the Stoic move, helped by the run, is pulling that focus back inward, to your own mind, your own choices.
Okay, so acknowledge the reality, focus on what's yours to control. What then?
Then, the source says, they deliberately use something called negative visualization during the run.
Which sounds kind of grim, but isn't always in Stoicism.
Right. It's not about dwelling morbidly. It's a tool. They sort of force themselves to think, okay, if the absolute worst happened, what would I actually do? What are the specific steps?
Thinking through the feared outcome.
Yeah. And the author apparently found this surprisingly useful because planning responses to bad outcomes made them realize that they hadn't even done the basic prep beforehand. Like they didn't have the guest's phone number, didn't really know their plans for the night.
Ah, so the anxiety, when examined like that, actually revealed a practical gap.
Exactly. It wasn't just noise. It was like a diagnostic tool. It showed where they could have been more prepared.
Interesting. So the plan wasn't about finding the guest right then.
No, not at all. The plan that came out of it was about things they could control later. Like, okay, I'll message them by breakfast. I'll stick to my own schedule today. And crucially, make a mental note. Always get contact info in the future.
So practical steps emerge from facing the fear. It connects back to that bigger idea the author mentions.
Which is?
By choosing to engage with the anxiety, actively using the run, separating control, using that negative visualization, the whole experience changed.
Right. It wasn't just wasted worry.
No, it became, as they put it, a profound learning opportunity. It had value.
Which kind of brings us to the funny part of the story's ending.
Oh, what happened with the guest?
Turns out, the guests had actually gotten back just shortly after the author left for the run anyway. You were fine.
Huh. Okay. But that doesn't invalidate the process, does it?
Not according to the source. That's the key takeaway. The author felt they'd completed, quote, another profound Stoic practice.
Because the internal work was done. They learned that focusing on what you can do, your sphere of control in that moment of uncertainty, that gives you strength, clarity.
Regardless of how things turn out externally.
Exactly. The outcome didn't change the value of the mental exercise.
So thinking about this for you listening, this story from Running with Stoicism, it really shows how those moments of worry, they don't have to just be awful.
Right. They can be something else.
Yeah, they can actually be opportunities, chances to learn, to practice these useful mental skills, maybe figure out how to handle things better next time?
Just by consciously shifting that focus back to your choices, your actions, what's actually in your court.
So maybe the question to leave you with is this. How can you use a moment of worry, big or small, not just to get through it,